Hi, it's Rosemary,
and Quinn from the South Columbus Public Library.
and today we're going to be jamming. We're going to make some easy jam without pectin, simple stuff you can do at home in your own kitchen.
For this jam, you can use some fresh peaches or you can use some fresh blueberries. You're going to need a couple measuring cups and some measuring spoons. You're going to need a pot. We're going to do all the cooking in this pot. If you have a strainer, the strainer is good to wash off the blueberries. We're going to use sugar and we're going to use some lemon juice. After we're done with everything, we're going to pack it all up in this nice little mason jar.
Now we're going to wash our fruit, which I always suggest that you do. You just want to be careful whichever fruit you're using. You might have a different technique. Peaches are a little more sturdy, so we're going to just give them a good rinse. These blueberries look really great. So now it's time to cut up your fruit, or if it's something like blueberries, you won't need to cut. Something like strawberries, you want to cut maybe in half. Peaches, you definitely have to remove the stone in them. Something like these peach halves, I would cut at least in quarters or a little smaller. Okay? You're going to start with about 5 cups of the fruit. Okay, so that was about 4 cups of blueberries. And I'm going to say about a cup of peaches, but since I already have these cut, we're going to add them. So, there is really no recipe. I mean, if you have that size pot, it's about 6 cups of fruit. It should make it should make enough to fill an 8-ounce jar. Okay, so the next thing you want to do is you want to add about a tablespoon of lemon juice. It kind of perks up the flavor of the fruit. It's about a tablespoon. And again, there's no recipe for this. I mean, if you look in canning and jelly recipes, they may give you a recipe, but honestly, this is so simple that people have been doing it for years and years and years. And you can also adjust the sugar how you want. So it's usually suggested for about 5 cups of fruit, you do about a half a cup of sugar. But if after the first time you try it and it wasn't sweet enough for you, add more. I'm going to start with maybe almost a cup because I can tell that these peaches aren't quite ripe. And if I had maybe waited a few more days, they would have really ripened up. So another thing, the amount of sugar will have to do with how ripe your fruit is. Okay, so I'm going to do that. Okay. Now the thing you do have to do before you cook it is you need to incorporate the sugar with the fruit. And what will happen, like if you ever have a bowl of strawberries and you put sugar on it, after a while, if you leave it sit, it starts to macerate and it kind of gets a liquid going in it. Okay? So we just want to, actually you want to break some of the skin on the fruit of the blueberries so that they don't totally pop when you're cooking it. So, fruit, sugar, lemon juice, that's it. Our next step is going to be to cook it.
We're going to cook on this little cooktop here, but you can cook on your stove top. So you're going to get it on. What you're going to do is you're going to turn it on a very low setting, and once it starts to go, we're going to stir it every now and then. You won't have to continuously stir it, but every now and then you just want to stir it to make sure it's not sticking and to just make sure everything is mixing and gelling well together. So while your jam is cooking, you just want to keep a couple of things in mind. You're not going to put a lid on it. You're going to want all of the excess liquid, the water, to escape and evaporate so that it'll draw down to your jam. Time is key, so it could take anywhere from 30 minutes to maybe 2 hours depending on how much you're doing. So this size pot will make about an 8-ounce jar of jam, so about a standard mason jar. When you go to store it, since it may expand a little in the jar, what you're going to want to do is not fill it up all the way to the top. Maybe fill it up to about here. And this will last you about 3 weeks in the refrigerator. If you want to freeze it, it'll last about 3 months in your freezer. So you'll have jam for a while.
it's finished cooking, we're gonna bring it off of the heat. We're gonna let it cool. So the next thing we want to do is we want to put it in a jar. Of course, you could serve it right from the pot. We're gonna put it in a jar. So I just wanted to show you the consistency of the jam now. It kind of stays on the spoon a little more than it did. And it'll be a good consistency for putting on bread for spreading. It's not real runny, but it's not real thick either. Of course, if you cook it a little longer, it'll get thicker. If you cooked it a little less, it'll be a little less. It'll be a little more runny. Okay? So now all we're going to do is put it in the jar. I don't have a funnel here, but they do make the wide mouth funnels that really help this. But if you're just careful, you're going to be able to get it into the jar without making a total mess. So I'm not going to fill it all the way to the top. But you can see we have enough to fill almost another jar. Okay. And that's our peach blueberry jam.
We are springing into summer learning at the Chattahoochee Valley Libraries, and the program you just attended is one of the ways you can earn completions. Just go to cvlga.org and look for Spring into Summer Learning. You can register yourself and your family online, and then start reading and attending our online events. That's all you have to do. We're giving away weekly gift certificates, and every completion you make enters you into a grand prize drawing for tablets, games, gifts, and more. Remember, you have to register to win. cvlga.org, and we'll see you online again real soon.